Supreme Court ruled today that President Trump's travel ban is legal and can stay in effect. The travel ban affects 7 countries the president deemed a threat to national security.
And this ruling ends a long fight over whether the president can ban immigrants from a country and whether the ruling was rooted in racism. Team 12's William Pitts has more on what this ban means for Arizona and if it really bans everyone from those countries.
There was chaos when the first travel ban was announced.
A single signature shut down the lives of many people trying to connect with their families.
People turned away at airport gates, lawyers signing up clients in the concourse. Then a second version of the ban and a third. That last one is now law because the Supreme Court ruled it's not religiously motivated, even though most of the countries on the list are mostly Muslim. Protests were immediate.
We know its intention from day one. Right. We know the purpose of this discriminatory policy. This is not okay.
But the travel ban is not a blanket ban. Each country has different rules. In Iran, the ban affects everyone unless you have a student or exchange visa. Then you can still come in. Libya, immigrants and people on business and tourist visas are banned. North Korea, no surprise, everyone is banned. Somalia, just immigrants. You can visit but not move here. Syria, no one can come to the U.S. at all. But Venezuela is only government officials. Everyone else is fine. And in Yemen, that's immigrants and people with business and tourist visas not allowed in.
But there are differentiations between the citizens or the immigrants coming from each of the countries depending upon the risk associated, perceived risk associated with those countries.
Arizona Attorney Mark Lambert says the travel ban has actually been in effect since December. The Supreme Court let it stay in effect while they looked at it. So the only thing that changes is the uncertainty over whether the ban will stay.
The executive branch has a lot of control when it comes to security issues as they relate to immigration. So that's the one thing we know. What's going to follow? We don't know what's going to follow. But the opinion is very clear.
According to state numbers, Arizona is home to more Somali and Iranian refugees than any other place on the list. And in the last year, the number of Arizona refugees from those 7 countries has dropped by about half across the board. So we can verify the travel ban will impact Arizona, and it won't. It's already been in effect for 7 months, so there won't be anything new, but it's law now, and it's not going away. William Pitts, 12 News.